Hi there, how are you doing? And welcome back to my YouTube channel. In case you haven't seen me before, my name is Emily Mbai. I am a radio/TV host, a digital content creator, a voiceover artist, and an MC. I am glad to have you on board. Welcome to my world, and thank you so much to everybody who's been subscribing and commenting and liking my videos. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So make sure that you hit that subscription button. It's down here below. Give this video a big thumbs up and leave your comments in the section below. With that out of the way, by the way, this time I think this video is going to be a little bit different. Not different in terms of content, but in terms of, when I do my videos, I usually just talk about things that are important to me, and therefore I do not script them. I just come out here and talk about them. But I'm trying to use a different camera to record because I'm still trying to navigate this space. So I think this one is going to be cutting at some point, but there is no problem. We're okay with that. With that out of the way, it is Pride, you guys. It is June. This is a month where we celebrate the LGBTQI plus community, and the fact that it's happening in the middle of a global pandemic, it's happening in the middle of Black Lives Matter and police brutality. It's 2020, man. We're just living like through the moments, and because it's Pride, I thought, let me just come out here and talk about some things that I feel like are important to me, and I feel like we should have a conversation about as a society, so we can know, like, what have we been doing, where are we can assess ourselves and know what can we do better as a society moving forward. And I think the first thing that I will start with, I really don't want to make this video too long. I always say that. Anywho, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, the first thing I want to start with is let's just take a look at what the situation is in the country right now. It is still illegal for you to be gay in Kenya under the Kenyan Penal Code, section 162 all the way to 165, and it describes it describes what do I call it? They term gay sexual relations as gross indecency, and that makes it illegal, and therefore that means it is illegal for gay couples to get married, and it is also illegal for same-sex couples to adopt a child under the current laws in Kenya. And I think y'all remember the case that was last year, and that was intended to repeal and consider or declare, yes, that is the right word, to section 162 to 165 was unconstitutional, but that did not happen. And so that's the current status quo in the country right now. I just thought a lot of people don't really know the intricacies and the details, and with these things it's always in the details. So I just thought I would address that. And something else I also wanted to talk about is the history of Pride, because in the recent years, I mean, we've seen Pride has been somehow overtaken by more celebration and not really addressing the key issues, because, as I mentioned, it's more about assessing ourselves. What have we been doing wrong as a society, because we need to live harmoniously with each other, and some groups of people do not need to live in fear. And so it's all, and those are the core, that was the core motivation for Pride. Now, Pride started like way back 1969. From, you should Google this, just try and educate yourself, but I'm gonna just mention just a little bit, just in summary. So it's called the Stonewall riots, and it happened in 1969, and I don't know how to, I'm a storyteller. I don't know how to really paraphrase things. I like to tell the whole story, but the core is people, gay activists and gay people were fighting for access and integration. Because if you know anything about the 60s, this is American history, but if you know anything about the 60s in America, it was a very, very tough time for the gay community. There was a lot of open persecution, almost like legal persecution, and that was the core motivation. And after the riots, after the 2 days, people, there were a lot of LGBTQ foundations formed. A lot of activists came through, and now that's how it became like a global movement. It just did not stay in America. There were global movements popping up all over the world, and that started the movement, and that's how June became the year, not the year, the month. Pride marches are on 28th, but June is just a month for us to have these conversations. And that's why I feel that it's a good time for me to have these conversations about the situation in our own country. And I, person who is in the media industry, who we are in charge of the informing bit of the whole spectrum. We're the ones to provide information and provide education, and make sure people are educated in a respectful and factual way. And that's very, very important. I think that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to talk about it, because I have watched, I didn't really come here to rant or to complain. I just want to open a platform where we can have these conversations. They are hard conversations, and they need to be had in a very respectful way. I don't know if you understand what I mean, but I'm going to give you an example. There are some interviews that I have watched with gay activists right here in Kenya. I even watched one with actual gay people, and I found it extremely, extremely cringy. Like it's that thing that you watch and you're like, why would you say something so insensitive to someone? And then somebody will say, oh, but this person doesn't know that it's offensive, or yes, it's offensive for me to maybe put things like this. If I don't know, if you, I don't, let me just mention the interview I watched. Is it XTN? Yes, XTN Della's interview, and I really didn't like it. I felt like he had like the right he wanted to do the right thing. He just didn't have the info, and that is where ignorance comes in. He didn't have the info, but the info is out there, and as a journalist, that's his responsibility. Yeah, responsibility. That's his responsibility, to make sure that he is coming from a point of facts, and from a point of respect, and from a point of, this is not a toxic environment, let's have this conversation. So I just thought it's important for me to talk about that as someone in the media industry. If we're going to be doing these interviews, which we absolutely should, because it's very, very important, but let's have a conversation around how do we have these interviews, how do we have these conversations in a way that is not offensive to members of the community, and in a way that aims to, but and not to reinforce the stereotypes that a large percent of the population holds. So I think that's one. We, the ones leading the conversations, it's important for us to have the facts and know what exactly we're talking about, and know how to go about these things. Be kind to one another, right? So that's one, and that's not the only one. That I'm not just like singling out one person. I just wanted to give an example to give context. And if you did not watch the interview, I can link it down in the description box. You can go watch it, and please, I would love to hear your comments. You don't necessarily have to agree with me. I just want to open a platform where we can talk about it. Also, something else that has been irritating me, and I think that it's something that is holding back as a society, and we're all participating in this. It's not just the people leading the conversations, it's the people consuming the content. We still live in a society where the word gay or gayness is used as an insult. And if you think about it, that is mind blowing, that being called gay is supposed to be a negative thing. And then people, we come out here and we go like, no, but we support the LGBTQI community. But when we put that but, then we're not really making any sense. We're just reinforcing that it's a bad thing. Yet it's not. It's not a bad thing to be gay. It's not a bad thing to be trans. It's not a bad thing to be anything. It's not a bad thing to be Muslim. It's not a bad thing to be anything. Ndakula nyama leo. But the more we keep on reinforcing those beliefs that it's actually a bad thing, and that gives us the audacity to call someone gay as an insult. You don't insult people good things. If it was a good thing, you're not angry at someone and you're like, oh, kwenda uko wewe ni billionaire. No. No, we don't do that. But somebody will say, kwenda uko, you are gay. Kwenda uko, you are a lesbian, and us, and when we see somebody do that, instead of calling this person out and saying that this is not right, this is not right, this is wrong, we are not supposed to perpetuate that kind of thought in our society. We are constantly doing that. We are constantly reaffirming that when we go on social media and tell people who are single, guys who are single and they're 50, they're like, oh my, he's gay. It's the small things. It's this, we might not see the effects that has on our society as a general, but it does have an effect as much as we don't see it. And that's why we need to talk about it and speak about it, and it's pride. That's why I've chosen to talk about it. Now, I know this is not a this is a bit this is a not even a bit this is a controversial subject. I know that, and I'm not sure whether you guys are gonna enjoy this video. I don't know, but I feel like it's important to start having start small, having these conversations in environments that are not toxic, in environments that are not like, oh, this journalist totally destroyed this gay activist, and we are like, oh yeah, no. Let's not have these conversations to destroy people. Let's not have these conversations to school people. Let's not have this conversation to show people that we know better. Let's have these conversations from a place of, we want to improve our society. We want to make sure that nobody in our society is living in fear for their life or their livelihood just because they exist. Not because they're gay, but just because they exist. Because gay people are not gay people. They are people who happen to be gay. And that is something that we all have to understand and to cherish, and to see each other as human beings first before we see each other as the things that define us and the things that we hold dear to ourselves. Anywho, I had a good time talking about that, and I'm honestly going to be having more conversations about that because this is something important to me. It's something that I want to raise awareness to, and thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe, follow me on Instagram at Emily_Mbai, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Please make sure you leave your comments in the section below, even if you don't agree with me, even if your thoughts and mine are as far, even if you want to sit down and have a conversation. I would love that. Anywho, bye bye, thank you so much.